Welcome to this look at a new mod map on Farming Simulator 22 with me, MrSealyp. I'm here on a brilliant new mod map. This is called Selendra. This is by Fiksy and Mex, 141.94 megabytes to download. You'll see as we go around, as I was driving around having a look to see what was where, and I was smiling a lot. It's not the biggest map out there. In fact, it's a tiny map. But it's got some brilliant details and some great stuff on here. Now this is a map set in the Balkans, an area comprising of, among others, Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Albania, Macedonia, Bulgaria, Romania, those kind of countries. So that's kind of where it's set. I know when I first kind of came on, it has a little bit of a Polish feel to it, but that's where it's set. It's a Balkan map. The map looks like this. It is very small. Majority of the farming stuff is all done at the top part of the map, and then you come down here to the forestry, and it does say the forestry is demanding. They are not kidding. You'll see when we get down there later on. There are some required mods. The required mods did download automatically. I have put those details in the description for the video. But there's the Bavarian Farm Pack by BERNIESCS, the Log Cabin Farmhouse by GTX, the Polish House by Jopex56, the Homestead Pig Barn by Pazor Modding, and the Barn with Cowshed by Gracuś and Filip are all required mods. Field prices, they're not very big, so not very expensive, which is kind of refreshing. 5,688. There's been a bigger field like field 27 and 28, 48 grand. Grass pasture down there, 39. Then the forestry plots are all fairly small, so you can kind of get going straight away. This is a map for small machinery, small equipment, one of those ones we can just get back to grassroots farming and just have fun doing it. I really do like the idea of it. Anyway, that being said, we start off here, right next to the Le Jardin de Fermier farm shop, which is just here. We're going to turn and head up here. We'll talk about slot count when we get to the main farm. The main farm is literally just there. We'll be right on top of it in a minute. The level of detail on here, I really do like it. The colour palette works really well. A little bit, sometimes the shadows are a little bit dark. I sped up time a little bit because before sort of 9ish it was a little bit dark in the shadows, but not horrendously so. I've certainly done map tours of maps that have been worse. We've got a little pig farm here. We don't own this one yet. Sleep trigger just there. We do have 3 beehives on here, and this will hold 10 pigs with their feed trough and water point just there. Now this one is this little plot here. So that farm there will set it back 30,000 and 36. We start with 16 and 17, which is those two tiny little bits there. We don't start with very much. So this farm isn't owned by us at the start, but you can purchase it. So we'll come around to our farm. When I say our farm, the farm that you start with, there are no animals on this particular plot on this farm, but this is our start farm. So as we come in, you'll see we've got a little Bureau tractor, we've got the Nordsten seeder, we've got a cultivator, we've got a plough, got a little trailer. We do have 3 beehives here as well. We do have a sleep trigger, we do have a couple of seed bags, or pallets, which is quite handy. Now I'm going to back up just to the tree-ish about here, I think. Because slot count, new farm which I'm on, it's 813. That's all, 813. On farm manager and start from scratch, it goes down to 806. You do start with all the machinery and equipment, but interestingly, there are 4 farms you can purchase around the map. Well, I suppose including this one technically. 3 of them have animals on, this one doesn't. So if you come onto your own farm manager and start from scratch, the difference between the 813 and 806 is you don't have this building, you don't have this fencing, you don't have that little shelter, and you don't have the beehives. But you do have the machinery, and it will look like this. Which is something a bit different. I would have thought it would have been all the farms or none of the farms, but anyway, that's how it starts. You can put them in. So while we're here, the required mods that I've already mentioned, if we go into our build mode, the only thing in here under all of these categories are the required mods that you've downloaded. So the Bavarian Farm Pack, If we go to silos, that's in here as well, Bavarian farm pack. If we go to farmhouses, we've got the Polish house, log cabin, Bavarian farm pack. So it's the required mods. Where we have got a couple of extra things, though it's not, it doesn't specify them. We've got under painting, we've got quite a few textures here. Quite a few more than standard in-game ones. Under, it does say trees and plants. Nothing is saying Selendra mods. But anyway, textures as far as I can tell, or what's been kind of added in over and above the required mods. What we're going to do is we're going to grab the Bureau. It's not the fastest tractor, but it don't have to be. It doesn't have to be. We've got our harvester up here as well. So that's it. That's all our start equipment. That's everything. That's everything we start with. Got this our little field here that just goes around the corner, little L-shaped field, and we've got the Nova 330 Rostral Ash. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around and have a look. What I did was at Lipinki, that was the same sort of thing. I'm drawn to this kind of map. I know when I've done maps like this before, the views aren't normally brilliant. People don't necessarily like the small equipment. They like to go, yeah, let's go big, let's go massive, let's get all this new-fangled whiz-bangery, that kind of thing. But I do find something incredibly relaxing and refreshing about, like I say, just small machinery, picking the right gear, and just doing farming. I think it's brilliant. Anyway, if we turn it just here, we've got the spinnery, production chain. These are fixed in place as it stands. Pallets will spawn there. You put your wool and your cotton in here. Go just past here. We've got the livestock market sell point, which is for all intents and purposes a bale sell point, but it will do your silage and your grass, straw, that kind of stuff just there. The tracks as we go around, you may have already noticed by the little bump there, are bumpy to say the least, but again that really adds a huge amount of immersion. I think it gives it a really great feel as you're going around. You can't hammer around like a lunatic. I really like it. It's really making me smile. Sawmill is just here. Production chain. And we go right up into the northwest corner. We've got the next farm, which is the sheep farm. It's got a little sheep pasture, and it's got a sleep trigger, and it's got a couple of shelters. I'm just going to stop there because we need to turn around in just a moment. So the sheep farm, we'll do 15 sheep. As I said, the sleep trigger. Now, this is where things get a little bit, let's say, more interesting, however you want to look at it. We do have the verges, the periphery of the map, which can be purchased. If I click on here and do that, 0 is what that will cost you. And that does take in a few little bits and bobs. Main section here where some of the sell points and stuff are. So for placeables and stuff, it might make it a little bit easier. The ground isn't the flattest, so it's not going to be that straightforward. But if I buy that, if I go down to, actually if I come out and I go to tools, I'm going to show you something. Let's get ourselves a chainsaw. So, we are currently up here. The edge of the map, as you can see where it fades out, is just there. So you've got a few little trees around the edge there, but it fades out. But we've just bought the periphery of the map. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to walk out. So we're kind of edge of the map here now. And we'll keep going, and we'll keep going, and we'll keep going. Until we get to, let's say, about here. We can go up the slope a little bit further. Up to here. So let's go back. This is where we're now standing. So buying those verges, which cost 0, I'm now standing out here. I've bought a chainsaw. And I can cut down the trees that are out here. So whilst technically, I mean, I've bought the land, it didn't cost me anything, they gave it to me. All this stuff around the edge, all this forestry, that you can do it if you want to, if you buy the periphery of the map. Often when you get a map like that and you get to the edge, you'll kind of hit an invisible wall and you can't do anything about it. But it is available, it is there, so, you know, if you want to do a bit of logging and you don't want to pay initially, want to make a bit of money, make your fortune doing a bit of logging to start off with, you absolutely can. So I think, yeah. That's nice. It's cool. You can't go that far out all the way around the map. We've got some sort of rocky outcrops and stuff like that, but you can go a little bit further out. So, heading east towards the chicken and cow farm, which is just there. This is where the silo is, so okay, I suppose you could treat it almost like a communal silo, you know, for the village. There's a few farms and everyone shares the same silo maybe, I don't know how you want to look at it, it's up to you. We've got chickens just to the left there, that will hold 30 chickens. We've got the cow shed, the milk point is just there. We've got a silage clamp just there. I think it's part of the Bavarian farm pack. We come into the main farm area just here. So, cows, this will do 20. These doors do open, so for feed and bedding. Do they open? Okay, that would help, didn't it? Feed and bedding. There is a hayloft above. We can get top the ladder there and into the hayloft. Slurry point is just there with storage along the side, and then we have got tucked in here a manure heap. So you'll get your manure straight away from that, which is pretty handy. What I didn't show you, actually, that's a good point. The sheep farm up top there, that will set you back 28 grand. The cow farm, where we are at the moment, this will set you back 180. Bit more pricey, but then to be fair, you do have the silo on it as well. That's a multi-fruit silo from, did I say the Hessian farm, the Bavarian farm pack. That will hold 2 million litres. Multi-fruit takes pretty much anything, which is pretty cool. And we've got a sleep trigger here as well with the Polish house. Let's get those gates open. So we've seen the pig farm, we've seen the sheep farm, cow and chicken farm, and the farm we kind of start with. What we'll do is head up around here, taking some more of the sell points. Got a house under construction here. There's a nice little touch here which I like. We've got a debris crusher, and then we've got a little sell point there which is for planks. So if you do planks at the sawmill, you're bringing planks here for construction of the building. Now, as far as I'm aware, this stays as it is. It's not one of those ones that as you bring planks like on Silver Run, where as we bring planks the building will build itself. As far as I'm aware, it just stays like that, but you can bring planks here. We've then got Zito product, which is a sell point just tucked around behind that building there. There's your sell point, as well as the farm store. We've got a gas station just to our right as we cut across here. So there's your gas station. Then we come just down here a little bit to the vehicle store and the workshop. Kind of separate actually. The vehicle store's to this side behind that concrete wall, and then the workshop is just here. We've got a workshop trigger just there. We've got a pit over here as well. That's the Sosnovka, isn't it, I think? So we've got a nice pit there. So if you want to simulate, you know, doing proper repairs and work on your vehicle, which you absolutely can. The vehicle shop next door is the reset point. So if you need to reset anything for any particular reason, you can. But the trigger is in there for purchasing. The gates are pretty wide. You know, I reckon small to medium equipment. When you could run big equipment on here, the problem you have with running big equipment on a map like this is when you've got small fields and you've got hilly bits, or you've got a field like this which is kind of domed in a little way, bigger headers and stuff like that, much as you might think, oh, that's cool, we'll get a big harvester and we can do the field in one pass, but when you've got a kind of a dome on it, the headers don't always touch the ground right the way across, so it can be a bit of a hindrance. That's why you kind of try to go more medium or small machinery. So from here we've got a pond you can get water from. However, there are plenty of mods, placeables for standpipes and water and wells and that kind of stuff, but that's just here. So we're heading south, and we're going to head out down to the southeast now. We're heading down to the forestry section. I've already shown you there is forestry. If you want a challenge, and this is going to be a challenge for smaller machinery stuff as well, which I think is pretty cool. We're going to head to that in just a moment. We've got livestock market, animal dealer, just over there. There's a few animals on the on this little slope there. There's I would say there's a shepherd, but there's cows there as well. Dairyman, shepherd. They are static, but there's your livestock market, animal dealer just up there. Then we've got a farmhouse here. So, actually, probably could put time to show you. We started off here, we did both of those, and then we went up to that, all the way out to there, and had a look out here. We've come all the way across, down past here, round the side there. We came down that way past the gas station. Vehicle shop, we're now down there, and we are sitting at this point here. So this little plot here, we'll set it back 30,000. So if you wanted to start off and maybe doing login first, we've got helium deer, as you can see. But this farmhouse is the log cabin one, which is part of the required mods. We can go inside this one. There's a nice little fire crackling away. Lovely. Or this could be your start farm. It's up to you how you want to go about it. But this is where things get a little bit more interesting. I'm going to put the lights on. So this is the forestry, and when it says it's demanding, I honestly, from this point on, there's no more sell points or anything like this, but I could not stop smiling. The tracks aren't even anyway, but what they've done here is brilliant. I personally think it is. You might not. You might absolutely hate it, but I think it's absolutely brilliant. We've got a little grass field to the right hand side. As we continue along, it's the way the tracks have been laid out, the stuff that's been added in. Lots of detail that it's one of those maps that if it wasn't here you'd never know and it wouldn't matter. But the fact it is, the level of detail that's gone into this. We've got lots of little switchbacks and hairpins. And the terrain changes massively. We've got all these steep gullies and gorges, and it is going to be interesting. Cutting down trees and doing it. We've got this little waterfall we go over. Did I say they were collectibles? There are 12 collectibles. Spoiler alert if you don't want to see what one of them is. They are cheeses. There's one just here. Only worth £1 though. The cheeses normally when there's 12 are worth a little bit more, but that's alright. 12 grand extra. It's not like everything's particularly expensive. So head down here, through the river. It's awesome. It's so good. I'm going to go left here. Shouldn't really have that open, should I? Which way should I go? It really matters. This is just brilliant. It's so clever, so well done. You're not going to get massive machinery around here, and if you are, it's going to be a challenge to do it, which is great in itself. There's plenty of logging to do, and as we've already seen by looking at the prices and stuff, the little plots aren't expensive. You can gradually work your way across. You can have a go. If you get frustrated and decide, actually, you know what, it's not for me, I thought it might be, that's not a problem. You haven't spent a fortune. But the little tracks wind their way around all over the place. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I love it. And it goes a surprisingly long way. I'm going to stop here. Look at this. So, we are currently all the way out here. So there's all of this to be done. Like I say, look at all these little twists and turns and the switchbacks and... brilliant. For a small map, like I say, it's just really well done. A triumph. Fiksy and Mechs. That's it. That's the map. I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, please give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.